Good morning and welcome back to the course Fundamentals of Crop Physiology. In the today's lecture, we will discuss about transpiration, in which definition of the transpiration, its types, structure of stomata, physiology of stomata, factors affecting transpiration, and last point, that is water use efficiency and factors affecting water use efficiency. So in our last lectures, we have discussed about absorption of water, then ascent of sap, then what are the different theories of ascent of sap, in which we have come to know that the water is got absorbed by the root and it is pumped up from root to the tip region by the process called as, or the movement of water, upward movement, that is called as ascent of sap. And also we discussed about the theories of ascent of sap. In the today's lecture, we'll start with the definition of transpiration. So the water which is absorbed by the roots is used for different metabolic activities in plant body, and majority of the water is lost by released by the plant in different forms, out of which one of the important form is there, that is in the form of water vapors. So here the definition of transpiration is the excess of water is lost from the aerial part of plants in the form of water vapor. This is called as transpiration. Around 97% of absorbed water lost through transpiration. Okay, so only 3 to 4% of absorbed water is used by the plant. All remaining water is lost or released by the plant body. Now this process of transpiration takes place through 2 to 3 different parts of the plant, in which first is the stomata, second one is cuticles, and third one is lenticles. This stomatal transpiration which takes place through stomata, so it is called as stomatal transpiration, and majority of transpiration takes place through this type of transpiration. Stomata are usually present in more numbers on the lower side. Okay, in the leaf surface, these stomatas are present. They are present in the lower side and upper side also, but the majority is present on the lower side. In the monocots, equally distributed on both sides. Okay, so the type of the plant is also important role or differentiate the plants or the number of stomatas which are present on the lower side or upper side. In the monocots, the stomatas are equally distributed on both the sides. In aquatic plants, they are present on the upper surface. Okay, so on the basis of the type of the plant, the number of stomata and their presence, either it is on lower side or upper side, is depends. Second type of the transpiration is cuticular transpiration, in which these cuticles are impervious to the water which are present on the bark of the stem. About 10% of the total transpiration takes place through this cuticular transpiration. And the third one, that is lenticular transpiration, in which some water may be lost by the woody stems through lenticels, which is called as a lenticular transpiration. Okay, so these are the three major important types or the different ways through which this transpiration takes place. Now, as we know, the water which is lost, that is around 96 to 97%, okay, out of absorbed water. means only 3 to 4% water can be used. This here it is cuticle. Okay, cuticle is impervious to water. This impervious means what? It is an uh, or it resists to transfer the water from inside to outside, but even though 10% of the transpiration is takes place. Moving on to the next slide, here transpiration structures involved, okay, in which, so here it is first lenticel which are present on the bark, and here it is the figure of the leaf section, leaf cross section, in which we are able to check here the stomata which are present in the leaves. Okay, so the outermost layer is cuticle, upper epidermis, which can be also called, then chloroplast are there, vascular bundle sheath cells are there, and here we are able to check the stomatas. Okay, on the next slide we will discuss in detail about the structure of stomata. Aerial parts of the whole young plant, lenticel, cutine, okay, that is lenticular transpiration, then cutine, that is cuticular transpiration 3% to 10%, and stomata around 90%. Okay, so these numbers may differ from our last slide and this slide, so remember both the numbers. Then the next important slide is there, that is structure of stomata, that is physiology of stomata, in which here we are able to check the structure of stomata. So this is the innermost pore, which can be called as a stomatal pore. Then next, that is here we are able to check these green dots are there, that can be called as a chloroplast, and these kidney bean shaped cells are there, that is nothing but the guard cells, and beside the guard cells this epidermal cell, subsidiary cells are there, and after that epidermal cells are present. These guard cells are there beside these subsidiary cells, okay, and the guard cells are the cell which are controlling the closing and opening of the stomata. Okay, when the stomata opens, the water is released out in the form of water vapors, while when it is closed, the water vapors which are going out can stop, so the transpiration will be controlled by the guard cells. Also this epidermal cell also playing an important role in the mechanism of stomatal opening, closing and opening. Now on the other photo we are able to check here the structure of the stomata, which is present in the dicots as well as in the monocot. In the dicot it is kidney bean shape, while in the monocot it is dumbbell shape. Okay, this is the only difference which we can observe in the diagram. All other remaining parts, remaining cells, remaining structural constituents are same as the standard structure of stomata. Moving on to the next slide. Stomatas are minute pores surrounded by two epidermal cells. Their opening and closing is being controlled by guard cells. Now here in the diagram also we checked about the guard cell, structure of the guard cell. Okay, so these are the guard cells which are present near the stomatal pore. Stomata occupies 1 to 2% of total leaf area. Okay, so on the basis of this we are able to check how many stomatas are present on the leaf. Okay, out of the total leaf area, 1 to 2% of the area is covered by this only stomata. Then guard cells are kidney shaped in dicots and dumbbell shaped in monocot. Each guard cell has cytoplasmic lining and central vacuole containing cell sap. Guard cell surrounding the pore and its inner wall is inelastic and thick, while outer wall is elastic and thin. Okay, so is the important point. On the basis of that, closing and opening of the stomata takes place. Okay, so here the inner wall is inelastic and outer wall is elastic and thin. Okay, so that the opening and closing mechanism takes place. Guard cell contains chloroplast which perform photosynthesis, where epidermal cell lack chloroplast. Okay, so wherever chloroplasts are present, at that places the photosynthesis is takes place, while wherever chloroplast is absent, no photosynthesis is there. Next point, epidermal cells surrounding guard cells are specialized and called subsidiary cells, which supports in movement of guard cell. Okay, so these epidermal cells surrounding guard cells are specialized and called subsidiary cells, which are playing an important role in supporting the movement of guard cells. Size and shape of stomata and guard cell vary from plant to plant. Okay, so it is depend on the species of the plant and type of the plant. Examples are given here. It is that Phaseolus vulgaris is having size that is 7 by 3 micron, while in the males it is 4 by 26 micron. That is 4 micron is the width, while 26 micron is the length of the stomata. Moving on to the next slide, stomatal movement, that is mechanism of opening and closing of stomata. So here, remember one thing, okay? Remember one thing which is common in all three types of mechanisms, in which this osmotic pressure and diffusion pressure deficit are two important pressures which allows the water come into the guard cell, go out of the guard cell. Also, when the osmotic pressure increases and diffusion pressure deficit of the guard cell facilitate the osmotic diffusion of water from surrounding cell to the guard cells, and it become turgid. So pore formation takes place and opens the stomata. Okay, so whenever osmotic pressure is increases, diffusion pressure deficit of the guard cell facilitate osmotic diffusion of water from surrounding cell to the guard cell. Okay, so this is the important point. And it becomes turgid, so pore formation takes place and opens the stomata. Then on the other hand, osmotic pressure and diffusion pressure deficit decreases, water released back to the guard cells, from the guard cells, and it becomes flaccid, so the stomata opening is got closed, or the stomatal pore is got closed. So whenever osmotic pressure increases, at that time, because of the diffusion pressure deficit, the guard cells is getting the water or solutions, so that it becomes turgid, and that's why the pore is getting opened. And this is what happening in all three mechanisms. Okay, so remember this properly: osmotic pressure and diffusion pressure deficit. So the first mechanism is hydrolysis of starch into sugar in guard cell. Second one is synthesis of sugar or organic acids. And third one, the active pumping of K plus ions, that is potassium ions, in the guard cell. So the first one is hydrolysis of starch into sugar in guard cell. Now here, hydrolysis of the starch into the guard cell is mainly takes place in the light and whenever pH is high. Okay, while this reaction is reversed in dark and when the pH is low. So in the hydrolysis of starch into sugar is nothing but the insoluble starch and inorganic phosphate which are present in the guard cells. During the day, the pH of the guard cell is high. This favors hydrolysis of the starch, which is insoluble in nature, is converted into the soluble form of glucose 1-phosphate. Okay, this, first of all, this, why this is happening? Because the enzyme which is present in the guard cell, which acts upon the starch and inorganic phosphate, that is phosphorylase enzyme. Okay, and this phosphorylase enzyme is carrying out this process of conversion of starch and inorganic phosphate into glucose 1 phosphate in the presence of light and high pH. Means what? This process is happening in the day period, okay, when the sunlight is there. And because of this, what will happen? So when it is converted into the soluble form, at that time osmotic pressure is increased in the guard cell. Now, as the osmotic pressure of the guard cell is increases, the water enters into the guard cell by osmotic diffusion from the surrounding epidermal and mesophyll cells, and that's why this guard cell become turgid, and because of that stomata is getting opened and transpiration will take place. While on the other hand, when the light is not there or when dark period is starts, at that time the pH is getting lowered of the guard cell and the same process is got reversed, okay, in which the glucose 1 phosphate is converted into the starch and inorganic phosphate in dark while pH is low of the guard cell. And because of that, the diffusion pressure deficit, osmotic pressure of the guard cell decreases, and because of that, the water which comes in the guard cell is released back to the mesophyll and epidermal cells so that it becomes flaccid and stomata is got closed. Okay, so this is how the hydrolysis of the starch into sugar in guard cell controls the closing and opening of the stomata. Second important way in which the closing and opening is regulated, that is synthesis of sugars or organic acid in guard cells. Again, during the day or when sunlight is present, photosynthesis occur in the guard cell because it contains chloroplast, as we discussed in the diagram. The soluble sugars formed in this process which contribute to the osmotic potential of the guard cell and hence resulting in the stomatal opening. And again, reverse process would occur in the darkness. Now here also the same thing, that is instead of this hydrolysis in the guard cell, mainly because of the photosynthesis which occur in the daylight, because of which some glucose formation takes place, and this is liquid or a solution, and that's why again the osmotic pressure of the guard cell increases. So the water coming in, again it becomes turgid, and the guard cell become turgid means the stomatal opening or stomatal pore is getting opened and transpiration takes place. Now moving on to the next slide, that is third way of the closing mechanism of closing and opening of the stomata, in which potassium ion exchange pumping mechanism in guard cells. Okay, according to this mechanism, there is an accumulation of potassium ions in the guard cell during daylight period. Okay, important point here it is again, what is happening in the daylight? Potassium ions are accumulated in the guard cells during the day. The protons, that is hydrogen ions, are pumped out from the guard cell into the adjacent epidermal cell, and exchange of potassium ions are mediated through the ATPs, and thus it is an active process. The accumulation of K ions is sufficient enough to significantly decrease the water potential of the guard cell during daylight. Consequently, water enters into them from the adjacent epidermal and mesophyll cell, thereby increasing the turgor pressure and opening the stomatal pore. Okay, again, this is also an important point, that all these reactions are the mechanisms which are happening in the daylight only, in the presence of sunlight or because of the high pH. Okay, so that the stomata are mainly open in the daylight or the day period, and it is being closed in the dark night or dark period or night conditions. So here in the third mechanism, the accumulation of potassium ions in the guard cell during the day period is one of the important reason, because when the potassium ions are accumulated in the guard cell, at that time it takes the place of hydrogen ions which are present in the guard cell, and as the K plus or potassium ions increases in the guard cell, so that much amount of the hydrogen ions are replaced, and because of that also the movement of water takes place, because this diffusion pressure decreases, and the water potential of the guard cell during the daylight, so that again it becomes turgor pressure increases and opening of the stomata pore takes place, while the same process is got repeated or reversed in the night, where reverse situation prevails during dark when stomata are closed. There is a no accumulation of K plus in the guard cell, so the process is repeated and the stomata is got closed. So these are the three important mechanisms or types of the mechanisms which are involved in the opening and closing of the stomata. Okay, so we will stop here today. We will continue the factors affecting the transpiration and water efficiency in the coming lecture. Thank you.